Myself Tanvi. Today we are going to discuss the topic insurance. So in this we will discuss the definition of insurance, principles, then we will discuss risk, uncertainty, level of risk, perils and hazards, and type of hazards, its characteristics of insurable risk and type of risk, and at the last we will discuss the risk management strategy. So we will all discuss about insurance. We heard this term from our family, from our parents that the insurance is important to be having. Now actually what is insurance is? Insurance is a means to the protection from the financial losses, any sort of financial losses, very importantly financial losses. It only provides us a protection from the financial losses, any sort of the risks that we come across. Insurance gives us a protection from that. So it is a form of a risk management primarily used to hedge against the risk of contingent or uncertain losses. So it is very important to consider this thing. It provides a protection against the risk, which is a contingent or uncertain losses. Now, when we are certain about certain losses that this thing going to be happen, ये चीज होने की बात है, ये loss मेरे को amount का होने ही पता है. In that case, insurance company will not going to give us insurance because that is very for sure that ये loss तो होगा ही नहीं. But where there is uncertainty, you know that there is a possibility that loss may arise, but how much and it will definitely going to be happen. In that case, insurance company will not going to give us any sort of insurance. When there is uncertainty, maybe it happen or may not happen. In that case, only for that risk only, the insurance companies provide us the insurance. Now, very importantly, we are having two parties over here. Now, one is insured and another is insured. Now, the person who is taking risk on the behalf of the other party is known as the insurer. We call it as an insurance company as well. जिसको insurance company भी बोलते हैं. और हमारे पास what terms हैं हमारे पास insurance carriers, underwriters, those who are taking risk on the behalf of the other person, and the person whose risk is taken by the third party is insured, or the policy holder, जो policy basically खरीद रहा है. Now over here, now this third person, the company is taking risk on the behalf of the insured. Why he or she is taking that risk is for the sake of premium. Now the insured will pay a premium in order to allow the insurer to take risk on his behalf. So these are two parties involved in the insurance. For this, there is one contract which we call insurance policy. Insurance policy is basically a contract which details the conditions and the circumstances under which the insurance company will going to compensate. It will tell you the whole things, the things which are included in the risk, or the things are not included, what are the assumptions in the risk. All terms and conditions will be going to be the part of that insurance policy. This is a very important document which makes a foundation of this whole process. So financial insurance is basically a protection from the financial losses. So the most important, the insurance policy we are talking about, the insurance policy is based on certain principles. Now how the insurance works, it based on certain principles. The certain principles are the utmost good faith. The first one, as the name suggests, utmost good faith means where the both parties give the true and the fair information to each other prior to the contract. So contract जब भी कर रहे हैं, जब भी policy ले रहे हैं, insured और insurer अपनी जो भी prior information, required relevant information है वो एक दूसरे को बताएं. In case if it is found that later on कि कहीं पर भी insured ने कोई information conceal की है और फिर आप contract में पता चलती है, then in that case the insurance company may not pay the claim on the basis of the violation of utmost good faith. Then the next one is your insurable interest. This is also very important. Now over here, whenever we are taking a policy from the insurance company, usually we are taking the policy of our house, maybe for fire insurance, for the office accommodation, or for our life insurance, general insurance. We are having so many insurances. Now, in that case, we are taking an insurance. In that case, we always must prove that point we are having an insurable interest in that. If there is absence of insurable interest, in that case, the company will not going to pay the compensation. Now, what is the insurable interest? Now, the point is over here, not the ownership. It is not required that you must be the owner of that building and owner of that particular asset or thing from which you are taking the policy. It is important that you are earning some sort of revenue out of that. If you are not earning revenue out of that, then you may not be reasonable enough to take a policy. Or if you have taken that policy, in that case, a later on stage, because of lack of insurable interest in that particular asset, the company may not pay to the claim. So it is important, it is not required that it is necessary to be the owner of the property, but you must have interest in that you are earning some sort of profit out of that. Right? So the next one is indemnity. Now, indemnity. This is the contract where we promise to the second person that in case any sort of risk may happen, the company will going to pay compensation for that risk and will try to make you at the same position before the risk happens. Now, what I have said that जब risk हुआ है basically risk होने के बाद जो भी मुझे financial losses आए हैं तो indemnity का जो contract हमारे पास होता है इसमें promise किया जाता है company के द्वारा to the insured that if the risk happens the company will going to compensate to make you in the same position before the risk may happen. वो रिस्क होने से पहले जिस फाइनेंशियल पोजीशन पे आप थे उसी पे लेके रखने का प्रॉमिस करते हैं. सो दैट इज द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ऑफ इंडेमनिटी. नाउ द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ऑफ इंडेमनिटी में एक हमारे पास एक्सेप्शन है. लाइफ इंश्योरेंस इज नॉट अ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ऑफ इंडेमनिटी. इफ द पर्सन डाइज in that case the company cannot promise that कि उसको जिंदा कर देगी, they may alive him. That is not possible. So only exception to this whole process is the life insurance in case of indemnity. They can only pay you, give you the financial position, but not make you alive in case of life insurance if the death arises. Next is very important, subrogation. Now subrogation क्या है? It is a principle that once the compensation has been paid, अगर एक बार compensation company pay कर देती है to the insured, in that case policy holder जो है, policy holder का जो ownership right है, for that sake the ownership जो right है वो shift हो जाएगा insured के पास. तो company के पास उस let's say fire insurance ले रखी है and the fire happens, so in that case the company have paid to the third person जो भी हमारा person है insured है, policy holder को pay कर दिया. Now उस कंपनी की जो इंश्योरेंस कंपनी है उसकी कस्टडी मिल जाती है उस बिल्डिंग की फायर इंश्योरेंस के क्लेम पे करने के बाद. तो वहाँ पे जो भी बचा कुचा सामान होगा दे विल मेक प्रॉफिट आउट ऑफ दैट. वहाँ पे पॉलिसी होल्डर का कोई भी लेना देना नहीं होगा. दे कैन नॉट क्लेम प्रॉफिट आउट ऑफ दैट. एंड दैट इज द सबस्क्रिप्शन. द नेक्स्ट वन इज कंट्रीब्यूशन. नाउ contribution is very important principle. Now in case of contribution what happen is जो भी insured होता है that is basically the policy holder, they may take policy from ABC or XYZ insured. दो कंपनी से वो पॉलिसी ले लेते हैं. सो जब भी दो पॉलिसी ले रहा है तो बट वो जो क्लेम जब भी लेना है वो क्लेम सिर्फ किसी एक से लेगा या फिर इन रेशियो लेगा दोनों का. दे डिड नॉट आस्क फॉर अ सेम क्लेम फ्रॉम बोथ द कंपनी. लेट्स से यहाँ से इनकी पॉलिसी 60% ऑफ दैट आ सकती है, इन्होंने 40%. तो अगर इंश्योर्ड ने एबीसी कंपनी से क्लेम ले लिया है, फुल फ्लेज क्लेम ले लिया है, तो वो एक्सवाईजेड से क्लेम नहीं ले सकते हैं. फाइन. और द केस में भी वो 60% अमाउंट यहाँ से क्लेम करें, 40% यहाँ से क्लेम करें. ये है कंट्रीब्यूशन. नाउ इन फर्दर कंट्रीब्यूशन में क्या है, जब अगर एबीसीडी ने 100% क्लेम पे कर दिया, 100% क्लेम पे कर दिया है इंश्योर्ड को, इन दैट केस ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ प्रिंसिपल ऑफ कंट्रीब्यूशन एबीसी कंपनी अपना 40% शेयर मांग सकती है किससे, XYZ इंश्योरर से. अपना 40% जो है वो रीइंबर्स करवा सकती है. सो दिस इज ऑल अबाउट द कंट्रीब्यूशन. The next one is proximate cost. This is very important. The proximate cost over here, जो भी लॉस का रीजन होता है, जो भी लॉस का रीजन होता है, सिर्फ उसी के अगेंस्ट हमें पॉलिसी का क्लेम मिलेगा। इफ वी फाइंड दैट लेटर ऑन स्टेज की जो क्लेम है वो किसी थर्ड पार्टी के लॉस के कारण उसके कारण कंपनी को पे करना पड़ा, इन दैट केस द कंपनी में आस्क फॉर अ कंपनसेशन फ्रॉम दैट थर्ड पार्टी। सो अप्रॉक्सीमेट कॉस्ट क्या है, कंपनी तभी क्लेम वहां पे पे ऑफ करेगी जिस रीजन के लिए उन्होंने पॉलिसी बेची थी। अगर वहां पे उस रीजन की हैपनिंग जो है वो किसी थर्ड पार्टी के कारण हो रही है तो वहां पे कंपनी क्लेम पे करने से मना कर सकती है और थर्ड पार्टी से क्लेम ले सकती है। सो दैट इज योर अप्रॉक्सीमेट कॉस्ट। Now, insurance, we have heard about the insurance. Insurance क्या है? It provides a protection against the losses, financial losses, or it provides a protection against the risk. So the term against which the insurance we are taking is risk. So now risk is comprises of three terms that we will study in the later stage. It is a doubt regarding the outcome of the situation. Now जो भी चीज हम कोई भी इवेंट कर रहे हैं उसका क्या रिजल्ट रहेगा, we are not sure about that. That is basically risk. Risk is always associated with the term probability, where we know that maybe I'm investing in that business, so इसमें chances है कि 60% मुझे loss हो, 40% मुझे वहाँ पे losses होने के chances, 60% profit होने के chances, as the case may be. But I'm not sure about the outcomes. I know what the outcomes can be, but I'm not sure कि होगा क्या actually. So risk is a possibility. So where is a possibility terms means that we are talking about the probability. The chances, we know certain information, we have certain experience, past experience, on the basis of which we say that ये risk हो सकता है, जिससे क्या क्या damages हो सकते हैं. Possibility of damage or loss. So it is anything that is considered to be a potential hazard. जिससे भी कोई potential hazard हो सकता है. So that is basically a risk. It is an uncertain event that may have positive or negative impact. In short, we can say it is an uncertainty about certain events that may have positive or negative impact. Now, the terms which are related to the insurance is uncertainty, level of risk, pearls, and your results. Now, the first one is uncertainty. Insurance is available only for uncertain outcomes. Now, there are two studies over here, two observations over here. Somehow, somewhere it is point that the uncertainty is not insurable. But somehow we say in the given language, or in totally say that the risk which is uncertain, where we have some uncertain outcomes, that is only insurable. Where there is a certain uncertainty about the outcomes, that can only be insurable. So although the death is certain, we know that we call this life insurance. In India, we always have may not be investing in another insurance policies, but we all have the LICs or life insurance. Now, in that life insurance, what we cover is basically the death. So we are having two type of life insurance. So we will in lump sum, if I say if the person dies, so in that case, the lump sum amount will be paid to the family members, to the जो भी उसमें आपके nominee. Now, death is certain. We know that everyone person जो भी जन्म ले रहा है उसकी death तो होगी. We certain about that thing. Still, we are providing insurance for that because earlier what we said that the uncertain outcomes will only be insured. But over here we are not certain about date or time. We don't know कि किस time पे death will be. So for that sake only death is a insurable event. Once the timing of death becomes certain, when an individual is suffering from a fatal disease or an individual is very aged person, then the insurance company will not cover those risks. They may cover risks, it is not very certain thing that they may not cover. They cover with a hard premium amount. So whenever any person is suffering from any fatal disease where we know that they have that much of time only left, so in that case, what if the person is very old? In that case, the companies may not cover, but they cover also, but with a very high premium amount. Because they are taking high much level of risk. Now, so if there is a possibility of loss, but not a certain loss, only that events can be insured. Yes, this is very important to know that. We know that the loss may happen, loss हो सकता है वहाँ पे, where we know that इस चीज़ से सिर्फ profit नहीं होने वाला, उसकी तो insurance भी होगी. So where there is a possibility कि loss होगा, but actually कितने amount का होगा, we are not certain about that amount. In that case, only that event will be insured. The second element of the risk is level of risk, on which the premium amount will be decided. Now, there are two possibilities over here. The things on which the risk is ascertained is probability and its severity. Now probability is basically the frequency, that how frequently that risk may arise, कितनी जल्दी वो risk हो रहा है। तो अगर कोई भी है earthquake on areas है, वहाँ पे risk है कि earthquake बहुत जल्दी frequently आते हैं, tsunamis बड़े frequently आते हैं। So वहाँ पे अगर कोई person policy ले रहा है, उनका premium amount different होगा to the area जहाँ पे earthquakes कम आते हैं, वहाँ पे premium amount will be bit less, क्योंकि possibility कम है कि वो earthquake बहुत जल्दी frequently वहाँ पे होने वाला है। Severity, अगर कितना सीवर कितना एक्सटेंड का लॉस होने वाला है। अगर सुनामीज होती हैं तो वहाँ पे हमें पता है कि जो इसका जो इम्पैक्ट है बहुत मासेस पे रहने वाला है, बट ओवर हियर और कुछ और है, फायर इंश्योरेंस है या फिर कुछ और ऐसे लॉसेस हैं, कुछ ऐसा रिस्क है जिसका जो इम्पैक्ट है बहुत कम रहता है। सो वहाँ पे आपकी जो प्रीमियम अमाउंट है या रिस्क की कितना सीवर है वो यहाँ से बेसिस पे पता चलता है। Now, earlier report हम आगे डिस्कस करेंगे। If I'm talking about natural disaster, earlier companies may not provide for the natural disaster, के लिए कोई insurance नहीं रहता, but now this thing have changed because of the more demand. People are asking for this type of insurance. The companies are providing. So वो पहले एक exception था, but now we are having this type of insurance also. Now the probability we have already discussed. Calculating the probability of an event on the basis of past will always be or aware about this. The probabilities on the basis of past experiences. Say a person will die within 1 year. This allows insurance companies to determine the probability of particular event such as death. Now, depending upon the age, health, lifestyle, occupation, the risk on one individual will vary from the other. Now, how do we decide if the person is taking insurance in an earlier age? तो उस केस में जो प्रीमियम अमाउंट होता है वो कम रहता है, before 18 or maybe say before 20 we take a policy, then the premium amount will be lesser. How they calculate? On the basis of probability कि this person is of this age, तो उसका age देखा हमने, उसकी health कैसा है, lifestyle कैसा है, occupation, we have considered these factors. On the basis of that कि अगर ये conditions रहती हैं तो chances है कि इस person की death नहीं होगी या फिर किस साल बाद होगी। On that basis we calculate the premium. Fine. Now the severity we have discussed it already. The amount of the claim the insurance company would experience if the insured event were to actually occur on the basis of the severity of the losses. Now कितना सीवर होगा वो लॉस, वो कितना सीवर होगा जो भी रिस्क राइज हो रहा है। अगर वो जो रिस्क है बहुत सीवर रहते हैं तो प्रीमियम अमाउंट विल बी हाई। If उनकी severity लेसर होती है तो प्रीमियम अमाउंट विल बी लेसर. Now the level of risk increases based on the level of impact on the event. कितना impact रहेगा event पे, उसके basis पे आपका premium amount decide होगा. Now the next third, the last one is the peril and hazards. That is the risk element. Now perils क्या कहते हैं आपके? This is basically the specific events or the reasons which might cause a loss. Means basically the cause का synonym आपको क्या रहेगा? Perils की क्या reason रहते हैं जिसके कारण कोई भी लॉस होता है, कि फायर है, रोड एक्सीडेंट्स है और जो हमारे डेथ है। सो कॉज क्या रीजन है? सो व्हेन अ बिल्डिंग बर्न्स, फायर इज द कॉज। दिस इज अ टेक्निकल टर्म बेसिकली. सो व्हेन द इंडिविजुअल इंजर्ड इन एन एक्सीडेंट, द एक्सीडेंट इज द perils. Simple. Now next one is hazards. Now hazards is basically a condition where either increase the chance that the peril will happen or may then intensify its impact. Now these four terms are associated with each other. Peril is basically the cause, when hazard is basically which increase the intensity or may more chances to happen than this. वो जो भी reason है, fire है, आग लगने के chances को बढ़ाना या फिर आग लगी हुई है तो उसकी intensity को बढ़ाना. That is basically the hazard. So if a person कोई भी area है जहाँ पे आपको पता है कि फायर के चांसेस बहुत ज़्यादा है, जहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा कंप्लीकेशन हीट बहुत ज़्यादा है, एंड इन दैट वे हैविंग अ वुडन बिल्डिंग, सो वी आर बेसिकली मेकिंग इट एज अ मोर hazardous, we are making more chances for happening than cause. Fine. So the type of hazards we are having physical hazards or moral hazards. As the name suggests, physical hazards आपकी क्या रहेंगे? The person working inside the coal mine, a person with family history of heart disease. So there are more intensity that की यहाँ पे इनको ये जो impact है ज़्यादा रहेगा. Now why we considering this thing that because whenever the premium amount is decided by the company, they consider all the factors like individual occupation किस type का वो काम कर रहा है. If the person is working in a coal mine and is working in any other professional work in an IT job, in both cases the amount of premium will going to differ. In coal mine, because there is more risk that he will death हो सकती है, injury हो सकती है, the premium amount will be high. And if person is an IT, इतना ऐसा नहीं impact पड़ेगा उनको. So the occupation, health, lifestyle can pass. If the person family history heart disease, blood pressure, there is more chances that this person could get heart attack आ सकता है. So these are the physical hazards. ये उस pearl के होने के chances को increase करना है, intensify करना है. Moral hazards क्या है? It is the attitude and ethic conduct of the insured. It cannot be managed but can be avoided by declining to insure the risk. Now, insured giving false information to the insured in order to insure. This is related to the attitude, basically giving the false information to the company. So these type are the moral hazards, which is more related to the human nature or human behavior. Now, characteristics of insurable risk. Another risk which we can, because risk have two categories. So that's a separate topic. Where there is a one risk which is insurable and another risk which is not insurable. So the insurable risk, we will discuss that only in the subject. The first one is the loss must occur by chance. जो भी loss है वो intentionally नहीं होना चाहिए. We do certain things intentionally. The company will not going to give any compensation. It should be by chance. The loss must be definite. जो भी loss हो रहा है वो definite होना चाहिए. The loss must be significant and the rate of loss must be predictable. The loss must not be catastrophic to the insured. So these are the basic characteristics. We will discuss it. Now the loss must occur by chance. Now the loss should occur either unexpectedly, we are not expecting that this will happen, or it caused unintentionally by the person that covered by the insurance. So the person dies due to accident, that is accident. So that case, that risk will only be insured. The loss must be definite. हमें पता होना चाहिए कोई भी अगर लॉस हो रहा है, एक्चुअल मुझे लॉस कितना होने वाला है. Now the insurable loss must be definite in terms of time and amount, as well as the policy term and the policy benefit. So coverage मुझे कितने टाइम का मिल रहा है, 20 years का मिल रहा है, 10 years का मिल रहा है, 1 year का मिल रहा है. Secondly, कितना exactly मुझे loss होगा. We can, if I am not able to determine the loss amount, कि अगर ये चीज होती है तो कितना नुकसान होने वाला है. Fire insurance है, कि fire होगी तो मुझे building में मेरे जितने assets are calculate the total amount कि कितना loss होगा. That must be definite. If it is not definite, then the company will not give you the insurance. The loss must be significant. Loss significant होना चाहिए, which means that कि जिसका इंश्योरेंस करवाने का बेनिफिट भी है, अमाउंट सिग्निफिकेंट करना चाहिए. The loss of the common things like the umbrella, e-pouches, pen, pencil, sunglasses, they are not very much significant financially. The जिनकी अमाउंट सिग्निफिकेंट रहे पॉलिसी लेने के लिए मींस वैल्यूएबल होगा, then only you should take the insurance or the company will provide. Otherwise the company will not going to provide insurance for that. The loss must be predictable. We must be able to. I have already discussed that earlier also. Even if we are talking about uncertainty in certain cases, the risk is something where we are talking about the possibility of certain risks. They may happen, and the insurance company is providing this protection of that, right? So it must be predictable that कि अगर ये चीज़ हम कर रहे हैं तो कितनी possibility है कि ये loss हो सकता है या profit हो सकता है. We talk about the loss only. So वो possibility को मुझे rate पता होना चाहिए. There must be probability associated with that. If we are not able to know that the things, certain things that may happen for the first time, like the coronavirus, we are not aware of that certain thing will going to happen. So उसके लिए अगर ये चीज़ होने से पहले कोई भी ज़्यादा पॉलिसी लेने के लिए the company will not going to grow, because हमें पता ही नहीं है, we are not having any past information about that कि कितना loss हो सकता है. Right? So the loss must be predicted. The loss must not be catastrophic to the insured. Now, what it means that, like the earthquakes and tsunamis and where the impact is that too much high that impacts the masses, in that case the companies usually do not take business into that, they do not provide insurance policy. But now because of the demand, now this is the exception basically, now because of the demand of the people, the companies are providing for insurance for certain this type of risks also, like natural disasters. So the property damage caused by the war. In such cases, war is an exception. war के केस में कभी भी या राइट्स के केस के लिए तो कोई भी लॉसेस होते हैं तो उसके लिए कंपनी पॉलिसी का क्लेम पे नहीं करती. Now the type of risk we are having: financial risk, pure risk, speculative risk, particular risk, and the fundamental risk. The first one is financial risk. We have discussed it already that I have focused on the word financial, that it provides a protection of financial losses. If it is, we can measure that risk into monetary terms, then only the company will be able to provide me the policy against this type of risk, the financial risk. Next is pure risk. Pure risk is where there is no possibility of making any sort of profit. So pure risk is an insurable risk, example the death. There can be either loss or possible outcome of break. Next one is your speculative risk. Pure risk के केस में कोई भी प्रॉफिट होने के चांसेस नहीं है हमारे पास. Speculative risk, as the name suggests, where we make a speculation. Speculation basically हम एक उनके सट्टा बाज़ारी गैम्बलिंग की तरह कह सकते हैं कि जहाँ पे हम वो पैसा लगाएंगे कि मुझे प्रॉफिट है. So वहाँ पे possibility of making profit or incurring losses or possibility outcome of breaking that is not the company is not going to give you any type of policy regarding a speculative risk. So this is not a insurable risk. Example: risk associated with the stock market. So we will not going to because it's a sort of gambling and your personal judgments where you are investing that money. Particular risk. Now, particular risk is a major chunk where the policy is sold by the company. So over here, these risks are personal or local in effects. The consequences of these risks affect specific individual or companies. So over here, the major like fire insurance, road insurance, accident insurance, or vehicle insurance, that all fall into the category of particular risk. So which is basically personal in nature and local in nature. The last one is fundamental risk. Now, fundamental risk is certain one thing which is not insurable earlier, but now these days because of the high demand, companies are providing it. This is related to the your natural disasters. Basically, the risks which are so vast in scale that is not insurable. Earlier it was due to the catastrophic potential. It is not insurable risk. Now these days companies are providing because of the high demand and because of the competition. Companies are providing. So the financial, pure and particular risks are insurable, and few fundamental risks are also insurable. Now at the end, because we have heard about discussed about the term risk and then insurance. We are having certain risks which can be insurable. Risk against which we are taking insurance policy. Basically, insurance is a one sort of risk management strategy. How we manage that risk. Because of the risk, only the insurance world is existing. If there is no risk, there is no need of insurance, right? So how we manage basically the risk? We are having we have four major categories. We are having more than four also, but major chunk is the fourth one where we manage our risk. And the one we have discussed, that is insurance. Now the four major risk management strategies is risk acceptance, risk transference, risk avoidance, and risk reduction. Now, these are very important. Risk acceptance, or we can say the risk retention. As the name suggests, self-explanatory, a risk is accepted with no action taken to mitigate it. I know that in later age, we know that, or we are driving also, we know that there is a certain risk that when I am driving, I may get an accident, or in later stage, I may get hospitalized, and so many other things. I am working in a company or working in a factory where I have a certain risk in changing to certain year. So I know that this risk may happen, but knowingly I am not taking any action to mitigate it, which we usually do is. Or we may save money, that is another thing, but we do not do anything to mitigate that risk. That is basically risk acceptance or retention. I know that this may happen, I will see when you make it happen. Next one is risk transfer. This is very important that the whole topic is about we have discussed, where we are basically transferring our risk. Now, we have two parties. One is policy holder, or we can say insured, and another is insurer, or we can say company. Fine. Now, रिस्क किसका है? पॉलिसी होल्डर। रिस्क तो इसका है, बट ये रिस्क इसको क्या कर रहा है? ट्रांसफर। दे आर बेसिकली ट्रांसफरिंग द रिस्क। यहाँ पे पॉलिसी होल्डर ने अपना रिस्क ट्रांसफर कर दिया किसको? कंपनी को। किस लिए किया है? फॉर प्रीमियम। Definitely in consideration they will going to ask certain amount because they are paying their risk. So that is risk transfer. The insurance is an example of risk transfer where risk is transferred by a contract, that is insurance policy. जो क्या होती है? Insurance policy थी हमारी, to an external party who will assume the risk on an organization's behalf. So insurance organization behalf, that is basically insured. Now risk avoidance. Self-explanatory. Risk avoidance. A risk is eliminated by not taking any action that would mean the risk will be ended. Which means that कि मुझे लग रहा है कि when I'm driving, I met an accident, मैंने ड्राइव कर लिया। इस बिजनेस में मुझे लग रहा है रिस्क है, मे भी मेरा पैसा डूब जाए, मैंने वो बिजनेस में पैसा ही नहीं लगाया। So basically we are avoiding, we are not taking any action. हम वो काम भी नहीं कर रहे हैं जिसमें मुझे लॉसेस होने के चांसेस, तो दैट इज रिस्क अवॉइडेंस। देयर इज अ डिफरेंस बिटवीन रिस्क एक्सेप्टेंस एंड रिस्क अवॉइडेंस। इन केस ऑफ एक्सेप्टेंस वी आर डूइंग दैट वर्क, हम काम कर रहे हैं बट लॉसेस होने के चांसेस है, बट उसके लिए हम अपने आप को कोई बफर क्रिएट नहीं कर रहे। ओवर हियर हमने वो काम ही नहीं किया जिसमें रिस्क। द लास्ट वन इज रिस्क रिडक्शन। दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। इवन दिस इज इन कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ रिस्क ट्रांसफर। ये रिस्क ट्रांसफर के कॉम्बिनेशन में भी है। हाउ इट इज when insurance companies sells their policy, they always give you a to-do list that you have to follow this certain guidelines in order to mitigate the losses, mitigate the chances of happening of that risk. That is basically a risk become less severe through actions taken to prevent or minimize the impact. वो रिस्क होना या फिर अगर होता है तो उसको हम इंटेंसिफाई, उसकी इंटेंसिटी को लो कर सके, उसकी फ्रीक्वेंसी को हम लो कर सके, दैट इज रिस्क रिडक्शन। सो इसलिए मेजर्स लिए जाते हैं। मेजर्स लिए जाते हैं, मेजर्स लाइक अगर हमने फायर इंश्योरेंस है तो वहाँ पे वो बोलेंगे कि देयर शुड बी अलार्म सिस्टम होना चाहिए आपके पास फायर ब्रिगेड का सबका नंबर पता होना चाहिए, वी हैविंग सम दैट सॉर्ट ऑफ वेंटिलेशन सैंपलिंग होनी चाहिए, तो ऐसे फायर एक्सटिंग्विशर्स होने चाहिए। तो इस तरीके के आपको मेजर्स लेने हैं इन ऑर्डर टू रिड्यूस दैट रिस्क। मे बी दैट रिस्क हैपन बट हो तो उसकी इंटेंसिटी कम है, दैट इज रिस्क रिडक्शन। It is something that we can do with or without insurance. If I'm not taking the insurance policy, I'm not taking the fire insurance, but I'm meeting all the arrangements if the insurance happens, तो मेरे पास ये सब measures होने चाहिए। Second, I'm taking the policy, but still I need to investigate all that technicalities जो भी है कि मेरे वहाँ पे ये सब measures होने चाहिए। If these measures are absent, the company will not be able to pay any compensation on this behalf that you have not made any risk reduction measures were not taken by the company. So this is all about the now something that we have discussed is risk is the possibility of damage or losses with certain uncertain events that may have a positive or negative. So insurance is a one risk management technique which available only for uncertain outcomes. This is certain thing which is very vast in that cannot be covered in one lecture. The level of risk is normally assessed in terms of probability and the severity. That कितना level है risk का, higher है risk की lower है, higher risk के case में the premium will be higher, in the lower case the premium will be lower. There is a direct relationship that we calculate on the basis of probability and the severity. Risk refers to the specific events which might cause a loss. And results is condition which will intensify the happening of that events. So perils can be categorized into two categories: physical and moral results. Then we have discussed physical results, which may relate to the individual occupation, and moral results related to the mind and attitude behavior of an individual. So, and then we have discussed risk management techniques. Thank you so much. I hope you are clear with the